Suddenly tech for government is becoming extremely important.
AI is writing the code for humanity. Around the globe, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence.
It's all becoming what you're controlling. How much of the supply chain are you controlling?
If India were to grow at 8%, AI has to play a leading role.
We should stop teaching about AI.
Broad headline is that potential 2 million job loss.
If you account for the 2 million lost, add 4 million jobs.
Debjani, you're leading frontier tech for India.
Where are we today?
This is not a race. This is an endless evolution that's going to continue to happen. If you look at the curriculum, they update their curriculum every 3 months and we update it. What is the risk that we are building in it?
Debjani, welcome to SparX. Been waiting for some time to have this conversation with you. So glad. I know you've been extremely busy within government. In fact, I want to start there. Recently, you released a new report on potential impact of AI on jobs, which caused quite a stir. I think.
A good stir. I think it was a wake-up call, much needed wake-up call.
And just maybe give us kind of summary of the key findings of that for people who may not be familiar with. They can check out and read the full report
it's
online. But broad headline is that potential 2 million job losses, and that's also in the formal sector, which is kind of one risk. I'm sure there are opportunities as well. What's the broad framework think about it?
We looked at only tech jobs.
Okay.
Now, India has roughly anything between 8 to 9 million tech jobs. If 9 million, if you add in customer support,
Okay.
which is half tech, right? So if you add in customer support, all your call center and all of that, it's around 9 million tech jobs. Around 6 million is employed in just one sector, the tech sector. And the remaining is across sectors, right? Now, what we did is, because honestly, everyone's coming out with these numbers, but the analysis below, once you start peeling the onion, it was like, what is it based on, right? So we started a grounds up study. We said, let's look at these, just the tech sector. Let's apply a three-pronged lens, right? Let's look at how is the work changing. Therefore, how is the workers' constitution changing? And therefore, how is the organization changing, the workplace? So work, worker, workplace. The three lens we applied. Now, our finding is, what's going to happen is, a lot of these jobs like L1 support, call center, basic coding, a lot of these jobs which are routine are already delivering a 15 to 20% productivity boost because of AI. And our guess is in the next 3 years, that will go up to 50%. Now, when it goes up to 50%, the need to have a human in that job is what you start questioning, right? So if we look at the pure maths, just these sectors, we believe it's going to be a 2 million impact by 2031, and we are being conservative. Okay? Very conservative. It's going to be at least a 2 million impact.
And this is without AGI, ASI or whatever next may be.
Just pure productivity play. Pure productivity gains. Right? So we look at that. Now, what is happening? That's one half of the story. The other half of the story is, there are 3 clusters in which new jobs are coming up very rapidly. When we started the research a year back and we were looking for these jobs on LinkedIn, we could hardly find hundreds. Today, they're already in thousands. Double digit.
Prompt engineers?
No. So the first cluster is AI for enterprise. So this is all the AI jobs that's read in DevOps or AI architects, all the people who need to keep the enterprise running. And there are thousands of new jobs coming up there. One job which really, I was wondering, what do they do? AI ethicists, right? But I think it's an important one because in today's world, ethics is becoming so important and there are tons of jobs available, right? Then you have the AI for AI. This is buildings, the models, all of that. So you have the AI for AI jobs, which are, again, tons of jobs coming up, new, which did not exist maybe even a year back. Then the last is frontier tech jobs, which are more in quantum, etc. Like one job where we saw tremendous growth in just 12 months is haptic engineers. Do you know what they do?
No.
Okay. So all these humanoids that are getting created, robots, it's very important for the arm movement, etc. to happen. These haptic engineers are working to see how we can bring the sense of touch. So if you're shopping in Amazon today, you can see a curtain,
Right.
but you can't feel it. Can you actually start feeling it sitting in your house?
Nice.
Right? Haptic engineers are in demand. So these are the jobs that's growing. And what we realized is collectively, when you start adding them up, it can take up the workforce from 8 to 10 million. So it can, if you account for the 2 million lost, it can add 4 million jobs. But the problem is, you're not going to have in this new world, like we had data entry job, which employed millions of people.
Yeah.
You're not going to have those big scale jobs. They're going to be hyper specialized,
Yeah.
employing maybe thousands, 100,000s, but not more. But when you add up all the jobs, net, it's going to be a bigger number.
Got it. But that also then puts a onus on very rapid training and acquisition of new
That
skill.
completely disrupts your skilling ecosystem. And that's our biggest call out.
Right. Which is a challenge for the education institute, because in some ways, look, and you've been big part of IT service industry, which have done phenomenal job last 30 years in training huge number of people how to become in many ways, world-class programmer. But that ecosystem is obviously changing, and these newer jobs will require very different type of skill, a lot more hardware-oriented skills. And that is something,
It's not just what kind of skills, Mukesh. And again, I'm speaking, this is my personal belief, right? It's not just, it is how fast you're able to adapt.
Yeah.
One of the big things, analysis that we have published in this study is, we looked at some of the best US institutes, and we looked at some of our best institutes. When you look at the curriculum, the right skills are being taught in both places, but they update their curriculum every 3 months, and we update it few years. That is the biggest issue, how fast we are able to adapt. See, these jobs are coming up. No one's going to come and tell us, next week this job is going to come up. We have to be on the lookout.
Right.
And we have to figure out where these jobs are going, and we have to quickly skill for them.
In India, we don't have much precedent of people from private industry going to government and trying to influence change things from within. So you have taken this major leap and driving this very important initiative, Frontier Tech Hub within NITI Aayog. It's been about just 6 to 9 months. How's the experience so far?
Better than anything I had expected. So I'll go a little step back, Mukesh, right? I mean, I've been in Intel 21 years, as you know. That's where I've grown up, literally. And when I came back to India in 2012, Intel sent me back to head South Asia. I came literally suitcases packed, very clear that I'll do what they wanted me to do 2 years. And then I wanted to go to my dream market, which was either China or Latin America.
Okay.
Right? At that point, this was 2012, I was very clear that's where I wanted to go. And then suddenly 2 years became 3 years, 2 years became 5 years. And Intel was very good. They kept reminding me, do you want to move? And I was like, no. And then I was sitting with mutual friend, Mr. N. Chandra, and having a chat on this. And he said, do you ever want to move? Have you thought about that? And I said, actually, when I think about it, I don't think I want to move. Because when you think technology, and I look at technology purely from an application perspective, right? I'm not an engineer, but I love technology and I go deep into technology, but I always look at it from an application perspective. There is no better place than India. The kind of problems we have to solve. So that's when he said, well, if you want to do what you really want to do, then think beyond industry. So that's when NASSCOM happened.
Yeah.
And I think it was natural. I mean, after NASSCOM, I knew it is possible to drive change. There's enough readiness in the country. And when this opportunity came up to set up the Frontier Tech Hub, I mean, this was like a dream role.
Yeah.
And so far, it's been absolutely fantastic.
And very much needed. I think something in Debjani, I don't know if you will agree or not, but I think last 4 or 5 years, something has changed in the world. Government used to be about, and still are in some ways, about inclusion and welfare programs and education, health. But suddenly tech for government is becoming extremely important. And, we are seeing a lot of signs, both reason for optimism, but as well as reason for caution. Going forward, the world we are moving into, technology is going to be a very critical part of, how governments function.
I think of it a little differently. Earlier, when we would think of tech, we would think of it as a enabler.
Yeah.
Enabler of growth, enabler of development, etc. Today, I think technology has become the axis of power. It is what determines global power, national power, a country's ability to influence. And it's not about what you're inventing. It's becoming all about what you're controlling.
Yeah.
How much of the supply chain are you controlling? And you look at what's happening in semicon, the choke points are getting formed very clearly. You look at rare minerals, China, the choke points are getting formed very clearly.
Yeah.
I think energy, if you just follow the lot of activities we are seeing now in countries, especially US, reaching out to alliances to form energy blocks. That's going to become another choke point because energy is going to be the bottleneck for AI.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to see how this is playing out. And I think we're now moving into an era of, technopolitics, which is technology is going to determine global geopolitical dynamics.
And it's also very critically linked to the economic development, especially in our country. I think one of the best thought leadership piece in Debjani this year to have come out in India in AI is your AI for Viksit Bharat report. I think I was very happy to contribute very little to that, but I know you guys iterated on that multiple version, and right up front you make the case very clearly that if India were to grow at 8%, AI has to play a leading role. Without that, 8% growth is not possible. Without that, still enabling middle class lifestyle for hundreds of millions of people. So it's very existential for us to really figure out our AI game plan.
Absolutely. If you plot, even if you take a more positive scenario than 5.6 and you say we're going at 6.5, we're still going to be around that 7 trillion, 10 years. I'm looking at 10 years, right? Because where you are in 2035 will determine whether you are within reach of the Viksit Bharat goals or not, right? So 2035 is our North Star. It's very crucial. So you will be around a 7 trillion. Where you need to be is around a 8 plus trillion, which is that 8% growth rate. And that gap, whether it's 1.5, whether it's 1, that doesn't matter. But that gap will not be bridged all by technology, but to a large extent will be bridged by technology. And that's what this roadmap, and huge thanks to you. I think the expert council, even if it's 1 or 2 meetings, you all keep us grounded because the questions you'll ask forces us to go back and relook at the assumptions we're making. This is when you future cast, it's all about how good your assumptions and hypotheses are, right? So it's going to be very, very important.
And where do you think, since, you've thought about this deeply last 6-9 months, what is your honest characterization of where we are in AI? There's no two ways that we are starting from behind. I think as a country, we start thinking about AI seriously after the so-called GPT movement. But by that time, these American companies had huge head start, and Chinese companies in some ways had a capital head start. Once they woke up to this, they also started just throwing money left, right, and center. Where are we today, and how do we build a optimistic scenario for, having indigenous AI that we can count on?
I think it was Simon Sinek who said, right, we're in an infinite race, something like
infinite games,
infinite game,
right.
infinite race, I think that's the term that comes to mind when I think AI. That this race that everybody talks about, I don't know where the goalpost is.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. And every time somebody says, that's my goalpost, AGI is the goalpost, then all of a sudden you see AGI vanishing and everyone moving to a new goalpost, which is ASI. So I think the goalposts are continuously moving, and I honestly don't believe anyone has figured out what the ultimate goalpost is. For me, the ultimate goalpost, and it will be a moving goalpost, is when AI benefits every single individual to live a better life.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it is health, whether it is livelihood, whether it is productivity. So at this point in time, and therefore when we look at competition, I think it's always good to say at this point in time, because you never know what will change tomorrow, right? At this point in time, yes, there are many countries that are ahead in the game in terms of the kind of pure innovation that they are doing in model architecture, in building different kind of models. And yes, I think we are trying to figure out how to catch up. What I like about what we are doing is the approach we have taken under India AI mission, where I think it's a very unique approach, because I don't think any other country is doing it. Where government is coming in and working with industry. So government is not buying GPUs, right? Industry is buying GPUs. Government is subsidizing the usage so that startups and academia can get easy access, which I think is a great partnership. It's a PPP model, right? So democratizing access to resources like compute, data, skills, which are the key resources, I think is a very good foundation. Without that foundation, nothing can happen. Right? So that foundation, I hope, will continue to build. What you and I have talked a lot about, and what I'm worried most about, is the R&D appetite and mindset. It's not about the R&D funds. I think government is also putting in money to say R&D. I am worried about our mindset and the appetite to really, the hunger, the need to go and do R&D. I mean, recently there were so many interviews of CEOs and all saying, how do I justify this to my board?
Change the board.
It's the most depressing thing I've ever heard. Right? When you talk about R&D and you say that the choice between me is, with the choice in front of us is either invest in this or invest in business as usual to expand the business. Naturally, which means we're really not factoring in what's happening around the world. Every industry is changing. What I'm hearing out of Germany now is companies there are coming out with asks in tenders to say, as you bid for this, tell us how are you going to use AI agents to bring down cost. And again, this is something I'm hearing, right? I haven't actually seen a tender. But if it's below 30% or 20%, don't even bother to bid. So, I mean, and this is not even tech companies. This is happening in sectors like automotive, different sectors, right? So I think we're just not understanding how fast the world is changing.
And I'll come to this private R&D expenditure. I think that is a huge unlock and probably require a dramatic ecosystem shift.
Mindset shift. Ecosystem will not change without us thinking differently.
And this is mindset of mostly CEOs and boards. They have to at some point realize this is existential. Like whatever profit pool they have is not going to last forever.
Absolutely.
Right. Just going back to your earlier point about the true power of AI being really uplifting the quality of life for everyone. But within that, there are two frames. Let's take an example of MRIs. Today, we can all go get an MRI done. There are Siemens and GE machines. But my life is better because I can get MRI and, So does when AI, will it matter if, let's say, I am able to talk to AI doctor or AI tutor is teaching me whether it's an Indian-owned AI or a foreign-owned AI? How much does it matter?
National pride.
Well, that's
But,
so,
but you know,
we,
no,
we import our oil also, like, so it's
I know,
beyond,
I know,
like, what
I
are the,
know.
like, strategic and economic imperatives there?
See, the way I think, the way I've been thinking about this is, let's plot out the entire end-to-end AI stack, all the different things, right? Let's just start plotting that out.
Mm-hmm.
Which are the spots where we cannot but create indigenous solutions from a long-term security resilience perspective? Because as we talked about right in the beginning, the choke points are forming. And the choke points will impact everything from trade to geopolitical relations, right? So which are the places where you can build trusted supply chains, and which are the places where self-sufficiency is a must? I don't think we've done that exercise, honestly. And that's something at NITI, at the Frontier Tech Hub, we're actually working on, is what should that look like for at least where we are today and where we think we want to be in 5-10 years. See, there are few things where I think resilience is a must. National security, health security.
Yeah.
We cannot play with our health security. And I think that's where, when we build solutions, resilience is a must. Food security. I think that's another critical area. We often don't think about it. But that's a critical area. That's how our people will stay alive, right? So health, food, and also national security, I think, are 3 supply chains where sovereignty has to be built in my opinion.
Sure.
Right? There are other areas where it may not be that important. So I think we have to pick and choose our battles.
The point you're trying to make is, let's say an example of GPUs. I know increasingly pretty much all AI inferencing will be dependent on GPUs. Based on global geopolicy, the access can be cut off. And now the world we live in, it can be cut off with 24-hour notice.
Absolutely.
Like just the recent new China tariff thing that just happened last week, right? And that's when a lot of critical processes can just come to an abrupt halt. And to your point about health security and national security.
The way I think about it is, the horizontals, the building blocks, right? Compute, it's going to be a long-term game for us. There's no way tomorrow we'll switch on something and become resilient, right? But we have to figure out how to build our resilience. And again, unfortunately, all roads lead to R&D. This is again where R&D becomes important, because if you look at the semicon value chain, the disruption is not going to come by catching up on the same technology. The leapfrog opportunity that we need is going to come from newer areas like the shift from silicon to 2D materials. That can provide. And I think it will provide, because if you just follow the money and you look at the kind of investments China and US are making, there's something in there.
Sure.
Right? Now, can we, it's still early days. Can we really make that a national priority and go invest deep and build capabilities for R&D and all to disrupt the semicon value chain, right? I think energy is going to be another horizontal. Where we will have to control a large part of the supply chain. Data is going to be another horizontal. So these are sort of the horizontals that we must...
so compute, energy,
data, the 3 I think are going to be critical. Then you come to the vertical stacks. And in vertical, again, where do we want to build end-to-end resilience? And that's where I think national security, health, food, there could be others, maybe even financial.
Clear. Let's come back to NITI Frontier Tech. What is the setup like, Debjani? What is your charter? Is it to come up with really good ideas and provide input for shaping policy, etc.? What does success to you look like, through the effort that you're leading here?
So, we're all talking about AI right now, but I think this is going to be the decade of mega shifts. And the next mega shift, which I believe is already happening, is going to be biology meets AI and the move towards programmable biology or bioengineering biology, that space. And I think that is going to be way more disruptive than what we are even seeing with AI, right? Now, if you go back and you look at...
Maybe I'll interrupt you. Can you just explain a bit more? A lot of people may not be familiar with this idea of programmable biology and what kind of things might become possible and why should we care about that now?
So let's take the recent example that got all of us excited because not an Indian company. Everyone's saying India did it, but it's not an Indian company. It's a US-based company, Origin, right? But Indian CEO, founder, Yash Rathore, if I'm not wrong, Indian kid. So they suddenly came out with the news that on genome, in predicting regulatory, the regulatory functions of a DNA, they have, in their benchmark, they have beaten DeepMind's alpha genome by 6.7%.
Wow, okay.
Now, why is it big news? Because first of all, to me, DeepMind is God.
Yes.
Right? if you can beat DeepMind in anything,
Right.
it means you're onto something big, right? Second, just breaking down what they have done. And again, I'm still studying their model. So my initial analysis of the model they have built, which is Access. See, most of the AI biomodels are very narrow. They can either predict the DNA sequence or they can generate. Now, what these guys seem to have done is created a multifunction model which can do both.
Okay.
Right? So it can predict the DNA sequence and the regulatory functions associated. So again, in very layman's term, and I am a layman, so, when we think about DNA, we think genes, right? Which passes the instructions to create the product or the protein. The regulatory enablers, functions are very important because they tell the gene what to do and how to do and how fast. So that's what determines what happens, right? So these guys have cracked the code to predict not just the sequence, but the regulatory functions and then generate new DNA with desired regulatory functions.
I see.
Now, this can be disruptive for any kind of therapy. So you can say, okay, this is the kind of cancer I have.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of genes, molecule proteins I need. And this is how they need to act.
Yeah.
And then create that, predict and create that. So, and yes, if you can do that, and I think their ability, the multifunctional bit basically helps, one, better scientific insights. And I think it can also help scale, my guess, because it's sort of, it's bringing it together, it's converging the functions. I think it can drive higher scale. Now that can be revolutionary for therapy.
Got it.
Whether it's the same time when you understand the world of DNA and genes, what David Friedberg has done with his company Ohala, I think, they've come out with this technique called boosted breeding. So yes, there are ethical concerns about editing the DNA, right? And I agree with that. But what they have done, again, based on public information that's available, is they're not editing, but they're basically identifying the best of DNAs in the parent plants and then ensuring that that goes into the formation of the new plant. So they've managed to increase significantly yield and quality of potato, corn. Now, these things, when you think of a world that we are heading into where food shortage is imminent, these things become very important.
Got it. Understood.
So the entire biotech revolution, why I'm so excited about it, and I find I'm more excited about it than just what we are seeing happen in AI. And this is going to be AI, biology, all. It's about the magic in frontier tech is it happens at the convergence of technologies.
Right. And today in this biotech, is the primary lens to look at AI meets biology or all the other wet lab stuff that's happening that's also...
It's all coming in together. Right. See, the underlying technologies today are, it's AI, it's biology, quantum is coming into play. You even have IoT coming into play. So you have a lot of these underlying technologies. But yes.
So at Frontier Tech, you're trying to in some ways kind of map many of these emerging mega technology trends and kind of shape the country's
So we're
strategy?
trying to understand what will be the next big tech shifts in the next 10 years, right? It's very difficult to predict, but you can create scenarios based on the trends. We're trying to understand the next big tech shifts and then futurecast their impact using 4 lenses. So how is this going to disrupt citizens? So within citizens, you look at jobs first.
Yeah.
Then you look at health, you look at education, etc., etc. Then the second lens we apply is industry. So how does this disrupt? Like biotech is again going to have a huge disruption on manufacturing, agriculture, services, tech services is going to disrupt.
Yeah.
And what kind of new opportunities will it create? Blue economy, green economy, etc. Then we look at what will this mean for government.
Yeah.
National security gets disrupted. How governments use technology gets disrupted. And last but not the least, the fourth lens we apply is what does this mean for geopolitical dynamics? We come out with these insights, and then the goal is to work with relevant departments within and states, by the way, because states often lead these charges, to make sure they understand early. Because it's the actions we take today that will determine the future.
Yeah.
So are we taking the right actions today?
Got it. So the hope here is that you have these relevant insight, which are backed by comprehensive study of what's going on. And then somewhere within the government ecosystem, central or state, they get action and it'll reflect in terms of budget allocation, new
Budgets,
initiatives.
it could be for new initiatives. Yes, exactly.
Is private industry also an audience for this?
Absolutely. In fact, as you know, every work stream, I won't say crowdsource, I would say expert source, right? We have 20 works. Currently, we're working on 20 different areas. Every one of the 20 work streams is outsourced to the expert community. And like you were in the expert council for the AI for Viksit Bharat roadmap. Every roadmap, and these are roadmaps, right? These are 10-year roadmaps. Every roadmap has an expert council.
Yeah.
Like in your case, the AI for Viksit Bharat, we're looking at economic growth. And every council is created like this. We brought in N. Chandra, we brought in Anish, because they give a complete industry perspective, right? We had you to bring in the startup perspective, you and Chintan. We had Neelkant, his understanding on how overall economics work. Rahul Matan to help us on the legal front, regulatory legal. So it's like, and we had people from NITI, the experts from NITI to bring in the government perspective. So every work stream, every roadmap has an expert council with 360 expertise across, which comes together to shape these
Got it.
roadmaps.
And do you think this frontier tech skilling is also opportunity for entrepreneurs to do something about, or is primarily the purview of academic institutes?
No. I think entrepreneurs has a huge role to play. You know, what we really need are those quick skills. See, I think, and again, this is completely my personal point of view, I think institutes have to focus on just getting people to unlearn and learn faster and build a strong foundation of interdisciplinary learning. It's not just STEM anymore. It's what they say STEAM, right? STEM plus arts. But we have to build. So interdisciplinary learning, AI fluency, and just the hunger to learn, not even hunger, if you don't learn, you're going to die. You know, you're going to perish, right? That urgency is what institutes have to do. A lot of the quick skills, I think, will have to be done by industry, whether on the job or before the job.
Yeah, I think the picture that's coming to my mind is, look, if you take an example of Kota, now Kota has mastered the art of, every year intaking few 100,000 students and teaching them how to become better at one particular exam. Or in Hyderabad, I think there are these streets which has hundreds of this coding institute, which enable people to get a job at TCS and HCL and so on. What will a frontier tech city look like, where it's absolutely cutting edge of, people get to tinker with a lot of things, learn about it, and that's where companies go.
And the
to hire.
curriculum will keep changing.
Curriculum keeps changing continuously, right? That's probably,
Absolutely.
maybe that's something you can influence, Debjani, in your role. Like a scientific city somewhere in India,
That's a great idea, by the way. We'll put it in our recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and look, see the magic of, places like Silicon Valley, etc., is because you learn so much by watching. So that, concentrating people in one place and having the same thing in the air, people living, breathing, talking, competing, it, creates its own momentum versus,
Absolutely. And I think that's why these hubs, like even in the roadmap that you worked on, one of the key takeaways in that roadmap is generic AI strategies do not work.
Yeah.
Remember, we said that it has to be sectoral. And one of the sectors we went deep into, the two sectors we went deep into was banking and manufacturing. So if you remember in manufacturing, it's exactly what we said. Again, within manufacturing, like automotive, create those parks where startups, industry, academia, supply chain, everyone comes together. We have to go down that path.
I will go back to this mindset change in private industry. And probably also connect with Debjani to some of the things, actually Prime Minister have been talking of late. I've noticed that increasingly a lot of his public speeches, the mention of technology, AI, self-reliance is becoming increasingly important. So maybe I'm kind of mixing two questions. One is just at the highest order in the government. What is the take on how serious are we about bringing about that change from within the government, and how can we parlay that to really kind of force this mindset change, because that is, as you mentioned earlier, like existential for the country. It has to happen.
Now, to your first question, I think what I'll say is PM gets it. Completely gets it, right? I've interacted with him in NASSCOM and even before that in Intel. And it's a very funny story. My first meeting with him, he was CM of Gujarat, right? I'd just come back to India. And Intel said, we're doing this school in Gujarat where we've introduced a computer lab. And that time, those days, right? Computer labs were big things.
That's right.
So he introduced this computer lab, and then we'll go to the CM and brief him and tell him. So my speech was all about, how Pentium, that time he was Pentium's going to be the coolest thing and blah, 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 blah. And, complete tech speech and all. We're very happy with what we had prepared. Went, met him. And he gave me a masterclass, which I will never forget. He made it all about the students, not about the technology.
Right.
He started asking questions. अच्छा, तो ये students का क्या हुआ? कैसे use करते हैं? क्या करते हैं? And I'll be honest with you, Mukesh, I hadn't done my homework.
Right.
And that was the first and last meeting where I had not done my homework.
Right.
After that, I would not get into any meeting where I had not looked at it from the user perspective. And that just makes such a big difference. So in every interaction I've had with him since, whether in Intel, NASSCOM, etc., he has always come in with that impact mindset. However great your technology is, what's the impact it's create? And that's the lens I've applied to Frontier Tech Hub. It's all about, are you creating impact? Is the technology creating impact, good or bad? We need to know both, right? For us. So that's my experience of how the PM sees technology. And I think he just stays in touch with every latest trend possible. I don't know how, but he does it. And yes, I think the one thing I got from him, especially in a lot of the NASSCOM discussions, was he definitely feels that the R&D mode in the country needs to get built further, right? And I completely agree with that. And we've talked a lot about it. And I think this goes back to education again. Where are we building risk-taking, appetite, confidence, courage in our kids, in our education system? When it's all about learn as much as you can and score the highest marks. What is the risk that we are building in it? Right? And I think this is what has to fundamentally change. We have to create that maker mindset in every single student who will become future CEO.
So I'm thinking a lot of future CEOs come from places like IIMs, etc., and they learned a lot about advertising and consumers and spreadsheets and so on. But perhaps, deep tech needs to be an integral part of the curriculum, right?
And build.
Yeah.
It's not a course
With your own
learning
hands,
where you're
right, yeah.
reading what is AI and what does it mean, which is what most institutes are doing.
Yeah.
We should stop teaching about AI. You don't learn AI by reading about it. You learn AI by building it.
Yeah.
And that is to be that's why I love programs like the Atal Tinkering Mission, which are going into schools to create these labs. And right now, I think they are not the main curriculum. They should become the main curriculum, right? Because that's where the real learning will happen.
Right. Maybe let me use this platform then to, make a free suggestion to IIMs and the other, prestigious MBA schools. Like at least have one course which is in hands-on building something deep tech, get a chip from somewhere, build a small model on your own. There's so much possible. And today, with AI, almost anyone can be technologist. And when these people in future, then they are in mid-management, senior management, they will have better connect with the R&D department.
A lot of the gurus say coding is no more important. Don't learn coding because computers will. I still believe coding is important. And I believe every individual should learn it because it helps us to problem solve. I learned coding very late in my life. But it has been game-changing for me because it helps you break down problems, right? Into those little bits and pieces and then figure out what you need to do to stitch it all together.
Yeah.
I think coding just helps you to think along those lines.
Yeah.
So I'm a big proponent. I think don't teach coding to saying that you're going to become a millionaire, please. That's not true. Right? But definitely teach coding as a problem-solving tool.
And if I can add to that, so last time I programmed was about 20 years ago, but last 6 months I've taken it up again because now with AI, coding is becoming so much easier. All these tools are available, right? And you have much better appreciation of what technology can do and what it cannot do. Otherwise, you're reading all those just reports. You're just fantasizing and you're thinking, as if everything in the world is possible.
You're so right. I started coding. I started learning how to code when I was in Intel. And then I gave it up. It was somehow, what do I do with it? Now I've gone back to it with a vengeance.
Oh, incredible.
Because it is so much fun.
Yeah?
So much fun. You're not spending time figuring out where have you missed the semicolon or that anymore.
So you're using tools like Cursor, etc., like these vibe coding platforms, or you're just hand coding everything?
No, I was hand coding, but now I'm not. I'm just beginning to get into the vibe coding space, but I have a lot to learn. No,
but that's very inspirational. I mean, I'm so happy that you are saying it, Devi. I think the world is changing. I think all business leaders should have, much closer appreciation, and the barrier to entry is so less. In the past, it wasn't, possible for us to learn C++ programming, but today, you can just start to
anyone can learn.
Right.
I mean, I'm 50 plus. And if I can teach myself all these things and have so much fun with it, and that too, I don't have engineering background, I think anyone can learn. It's today, learning has become the easiest thing to do. So
I think if you're able to inspire some other folks within government to learn coding, as part of the day job. But
government, I mean, I'm very impressed with the people I work in government. Actually, they know more than people outside. I will say this because this has been a big eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
I mean, they invest so much time in learning some of these new things. Right. So I'm pretty impressed with the kind of people, at least, that I'm working with.
Right, yeah. So one big advantage is that while, right now you would have, you might be seeing is whenever we talk about deep tech in some seriousness, thoda sa, pessimism starts to come in because of where we are at, how much catching up needs to do. But then the cause for optimism is the talent. We have incredible talent, both within India as well as people of Indian origin or outside with the right setup and they're all willing to come back. So it's however, whenever we can harness that, then this, catching up can accelerate dramatically.
I think we're way underestimating what's going to happen tomorrow. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
We're all getting caught up in today's hype. And yes, that can be, depending on how you look at it. I don't feel depressed when I look at today's hype. But I always look out for what's the bigger, that's my job now, is what's coming next.
Yeah.
And I think we're way underestimating and we're really not realizing that this is not a race. This is endless.
Yeah.
evolution that's going to continue to happen. As part of the jobs roadmap, we have proposed. See, one of the biggest problems with, as I said, this completely challenges and disrupts the skilling landscape. And one of the biggest issues it has to disrupt is the fragmentation of the skilling landscape.
Yeah.
It's not that we have a lot of good skilling initiatives, but they're happening in different places and in fragmentation. So one of the things we have recommended, now again, it's up to government to decide whether they want to do it or not, is India needs a national AI talent mission, which is a whole of government approach.
Yeah.
To do three things. One, figure out how to take skills into the complete end-to-end education ecosystem, formal and informal. Second, the reskilling piece, the existing workforce. And third, bringing back Indian talent. Now, for that, it's not enough to say, you're a patriot, so come back. What will they do when they come back? Where are the tools? And I think this is where, if it happens, then the National AI Talent Mission will have to work very closely with India AI Mission to ensure the infrastructure, the tools are ready. So when people come back, they can, I used to always say, why did Arvind have to go to US to build Perplexity? Why couldn't he? And now, even more exciting, these kids who have built the Access biotech model, they're Indian, but based out of San Francisco. What will it take for them to build here? And I think that's where the same thing, do we have enough compute? Do we have good data accessible for R&D, for this kind of work? And do we have energy to fuel our aspirations? These three things will be critical.
And to going back to all the different work streams that you have in the Frontier Tech Hub, somewhere each of them needs to be powered by innovation, original IP creation. Where do you anticipate that happening? Within academia, within private, should companies have their own R&D setups, or should we acquire a lot of this IP in the near future, build the ecosystem? What is the origination of a lot of this IP, because which all Frontier Tech will eventually require?
I think it has to be all of the above. For example, right now, if you look at the tech services industry, which is a very important industry for India, right? Huge contribution to GDP. For them to continue on the growth trajectory, they will have to acquire companies with agentic skill, AI agentic developed skills, etc., capabilities, right? They will have to. In parallel, they will have to build the skills. And therefore the IP. So I think you'll have a lot of, you'll have purchasing happening, you'll have in-house development happening, but IP creation is a must. For our work streams, each of the roadmaps, especially the sectoral roadmaps, it's not just IP creation. What we are building into it is the need for national champions.
Individuals or companies?
Sectoral companies. It doesn't have to, it's great if it's startups, but it could also be big companies. But going back, I think that's my one key, a lot of learnings from China, but one of the key learnings is how they built the national champions in China. We have to do that, and now we have to do it by sector. So we have to have national champions in biotech. We have to have national champions in advanced manufacturing, robotics. So a national champion means someone who invents and not just adapts.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. As startups, etc., they take a lot of nurturing, long period of time. If each of these critical technology areas, if you are able to identify 5 or 10 companies and
a mix of big and small. There's an advantage in both.
And creating a whole support system around that, ranging from perhaps some government funding, some government contracts, long-term contracts, some policy protection, and so on, and really nurture them.
The needs actually differ sector by sector. So we are taking a very sectoral approach to this. But even things like regulatory sandboxes in certain sectors, where these companies are able to invent without fear, not take the solutions out to the market, but at least invent, test them out, right? And then taking it out to market. But things like that, it depends on each sector. But market access to data, I think all these things will be, what China did, there's a China playbook.
You mentioned IT services as a huge contributor to GDP. If you look at the multiple headwinds, one is this H1B probably will have some implication. AI is definitely having implications. And I think just until recently, you were at the helm of really figuring out the whole industry strategy.
So much has changed from the time I left.
What is, this is something, while IT service industry is genuinely a cause for national pride, and what the industry has contributed to the country is incredible. But what needs to happen? That's some things needs to change quite dramatically over there. Otherwise, it will end up a new crisis.
We're actually coming out with that full analysis. But, in short, the complete business model has to change because now with agents coming in, it's end-to-end and people are looking at outcome-driven models. So it's not like you build for me and you'll get paid on the P headcounts, etc. You deliver the outcome and we'll pay you out for the outcome. That's one big change happening. So the entire business model, fundamental changes, the business model is going to change. Second is you don't have an option but to create IP. Even tech services, you will have to create IP. And you will have to invest in R&D, whether you purchase it. I don't think it's an either or. I think it's an and story. You can purchase it, but you also have to build your in-house capabilities in areas like agentic and some of the other emerging areas, right? You have to do that. And I think we as a country, and this is where government can play a role definitely, is we as a country, and we're going to continue to push government to do this, is build a better brand for India tech. Not just the back office. Build a better brand for India tech, right? So I think these things have to, and you'll see a much more detailed analysis coming out hopefully in another month. But these things have to happen. There are also new opportunities coming out from the sector. When we are talking about biotech, one of the biggest things in biotech is going to be development of new molecules. For drug discovery and development. When you study that model, that business model, it needs the same skills that our tech services have, companies have. So why can't our tech services companies pivot to some of these newer opportunities? I think that's the other thing we have to look at.
Got it. Yeah, I think there's,
the opportunities are there.
Absolutely, yeah. And we are one of the
largest.
We
have to change fast enough to adapt.
Yeah. We are 17% of humanity, one of the fastest, growing economy in the world. We can just consume so much, within the country itself, right? So, but the ecosystem enablement needs to happen. And that's why I think
I keep going back to the mindset. Without that, nothing else will happen.
Right. I think given all the attention, this is getting, hopefully, I think the government is able to both influence the mindset as well as catalyze the mindset with the right incentive and so on. I think that will be super critical for the country. And I think you are definitely playing your part, Debjani. I think, right.
All of us have a part to play, Mukesh.
Right. No, but thanks so much, for both taking the time and speaking to me, as well as, what you are driving. I think already a lot of attention is coming to a lot of the work stream you are driving. And as you said, you are able to expert source. So not only you are kind of leading that from think tank point of view, but really engaging the practitioners as kind of two-way street.
Without that, this will not work. Just won't work.
Cool. So I'll continue both, cheer for your effort from the sidelines.
And we'll pull you into more work streams, especially the national champions.
Right, I'm very keen and eager. I do think it's the next phase of country unlock, from 4 to 10 or $20 trillion can only happen when we have very, very strong deep tech pillars. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one thing I'm very clear, we have to be a frontier tech nation if Viksit Bharat has to happen.
Right.
It's completely dependent.
Absolutely. We'll see it happen in our lifetimes. Thanks, Debjani.
Thank you so much.
At SparX, we aim to bring to you stories of exponential impact. We share in-depth analysis of what goes behind success stories. If you find our conversations interesting, you can join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also listen to SparX on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any other audio platform of your choice. If you have any suggestions on who we should invite or what topics we need to cover, just let us know in the comments. We are always listening, looking for ways to improve, and keep getting better as we go along.